So how I start the ATCs is just taking a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and just putting some marks on it just to break up that page and get me flowing. Then I take gesso, I've got gold in here, and then just put that down over the copy paper, which is going to make it stronger. I like the silicone brush, but you can use whatever you have. If you like brush marks, use a brush. I like how this kind of like skips over the paper, and that's going to give us a different look when we use more wet material or mediums. Like so. And now even sometimes if I want, just take, and I've got some selvage patina here. If I just spray this on and just mix it in with the gesso, that's going to become a permanent color. It's not going to move when we add more wet medium. So at this point, I'm going to let it dry really well, and we'll be right back. So now I'm going to take L850 by Evans, and I just want to go more monochromatic. So I've got the oxide spray and then some assess here. And I can always take, because it's like a lot, I can always take and soak up some of it. Ooh, isn't that pretty? So now I got the starts of some painted paper. And let's see what we got here. Oh, nice. Okay. So now I'm looking for a smaller scale, and this actually started out as one of the large. It's Seth Apter L860. And so I cut it up because I like the smaller, working with the smaller ones. It's like a border stencil, but I'm going to go with the X's here, and I want to go more with the analogous colors. So let's see, do I have, yep, I've got some Seth here, and this is just in spring green. We'll go that way, and then we'll clean it off. Because really I'm just building up layers right now. Even though that doesn't look like much, it's going to be pretty. We'll just clean this up with the clean up paint sheet. And it's kind of puddling more like that, like because of the gesso, whereas on here you can see it soaks right into the paper. But here it's more sitting on top because of the gesso, which is good for me because I need this to be, you know, a little more sturdier. That's what the gesso helps with. So let's see, let's make some more marks. I've just got a black grease pencil here. Remember, we're going to be cutting this up, so even if I've got this going on here, we need something over on this piece. So now I've got some Crackling Campfire Distress Paint, and I just want to add, I don't know, some interesting elements. I've got this stencil here by Tim Holtz, THMS042. Let's just put a little bit of paint down, and this is just a cosmetic sponge. And I'm going to want to work in thinking of like the size of an ATC card. So if they get cut, there'll be a little bit of orange in each one. This looks nice if it's by the blue because you have a bit of a contrast. Can always just so now I want to add some opaque blue back to this. It's getting a little too green and yellow, so I've got some of the same Salvage Patina, but it's in the Distress Paint. I'm going to use the same sponge. I'm just going to clip off that end, and then also using the same Apter stencil, and just going on here and quickly adding in some more marks. But see, this is nice because it's opaque, so it's sitting on top of all my transparent layers. Now usually, sometimes the Distress Paint is a little liquidy for stencils, but I don't mind if it's not exactly perfect. To me, that's just what I like aesthetically. So to me, you know, that's not a perfect, that's okay with me. Okay, and we'll let this dry. So now my next step is to add some black. So I've got some archival ink here in Black Soot, and I'm just going to add some stamps. This is a Seth Apter, a Dina Wakley, and a Tim Holtz, and it's just to add some nice dark black markings to, oh, that's upside down. And remembering it's going to be cut up, so even if it looks odd right now, it'll be broken up on the ATCs. Actually, I might leave this little dotted one for when they get cut up. But see, that just adds. So if you imagine, so like that. And then I've also got some sequin tape here. Is this drywall tape or whatever it is? And instead of, I've just got a brush here. And we'll add some of these little be really, oh, that's not going through there. Oh, maybe we'll just use paint then. I've got some black gesso. Okay. Yeah, I like that black gesso against the stamped ink. So that looks nice. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a mailing envelope here. I'm just going to cut it up and then I'm going to glue my paper to it just to give the strength that I need. Thought that would be faster ripping it, but it's not. So okay. So I'm just going to take and use some of my glue stick and glue this down and be right back. So I'm going to make some more marks. It's now backed on the cardboard, all cut out and big. And I use Indian ink because it's really wet, because I'm going to do some circles. Any kind of lid you have. I want this nice big one, and then I've got another little one here from the cap of the distress stain, and then for some lines. But I like how wet Indian ink is, so I put it on my gel plate so all can be used. And then just get it nice and wet, and then just make some marks. Get some off the paper. That's good for the big one. Let's go with some little ones. And then now let's make some lines. You could also use a credit card. I just like the silicone brush. And I'm just randomly putting them, not thinking where or anything like that. Although it is kind of nice to go in where there's some white, just so you get that nice bold contrast. Okay, now we'll let that dry. So now I've got them all cut out, and I start to focus in a little bit more on details. So how I'll start with that is I've got my gel plate out again, and I've got this new L858 by Doobie, Carolyn Doobie. And I'm going to now add my contrasting color, or my pop color, which happens to be, for me, Postbox Red by Dilutions. So I'm just going to lay some out here on the gel plate, roll it out. It's pretty thick because I want to lay, you know, quite a few of my ATCs down. So I don't want it to be so thin to where it's only one pull. I want to get a couple pulls out of them. So, and actually, you know, I've even got all this red on here, so I can even add some red just directly onto them. Not thinking about it, just doing it till it's all clean. Okay. So I'm just going to randomly, now that's a little dark because that black is still on there, but that's okay. And this is just a little bit of a surprise element, but making sure that I have it on each one. Okay, and here's just my cleanup sheet. So now's the time that I start to focus on a little bit more detail. So I've got some Posca pens and some white that I like to do. I like to color in the circles and just start adding individual cards with details. So I might just break that up a little bit by doing that, or maybe there's a big circle like this and I'll color that in. Just elements of surprises. In fact, I like that. So I'm going to find the caps on the other ones like this. And see some of the wet that bleeds, which I'm okay with. And I also like to take and find where there might be a concentration of, like, see here, all that black, and just start to just outline those circles, create my own, and that just adds another layer, little interest. Colored these in. Then I grab the black. Maybe it needs some outline of this piece, the gel print part. And so just keep going through and just seeing what draws your attention. Maybe some scribble. Yep. Maybe just a couple lines. Try to stay loose with it, as if it was part of pre-cut up. This one, I'm thinking I just want to do another inner circle to match that outer circle. Yep, I like that. So just continue to do that. And this is what I call my detail stage. You can always take and get a food ball pen too and start to do a little bit of scribble and handwriting. I mean, doesn't that just, it doesn't mean anything, but it looks like $1,000,000, doesn't it? Same with this one. Let's see, I've got this element, this straight element here. So, well, just continue going that way. And then also what we can do, let's get this black back. And get a sponge. I use these multiple times, so I cut that off. And now we can add an edge at this point too, just to give us an idea of what this card is actually starting to look like. So I'm going to continue to do that on all of them, and I will be right back. So now what I did is I just cut out a bunch of die cuts that I had. So I've got some butterfly, and I just double layered them with white and black and glued them. And yeah, I'll just decide on which ones I like to add these to. That one looks good. I like how that circle is there, so we'll do that one. And then also, if you have some that are a little bigger, you can always take and cut them down too. Doesn't look like something like that. Or even, you know, if you've got any of these mixed media ones, that'll look cool on there. So, yep, I'm just going to figure out which ones I like where, and I'll come back, and then I think just to look over on each one, see if they're completed, and or if they need a little bit more detail. So here's I added some of this tiny text from Tim Holtz. So here, and you know, I ended up really liking the butterfly. So that's the one I did for most of them. Be brave. Although I did use this funky flower, it looked good on this one. Make a difference. And even if it ends up that you want it on the side, I like just cutting this off. I use 3D foam. And there we go. Thank you for watching, and I hope you give it a try. Thank you.